proud of you.
I hit go.
All right, we're gonna get this budget hearing going. Welcome to whoever stayed, leaders. We got a full forum here. We'll pray again because we're going to need prayer, I would say. Commissioner Holmes, will you lead some prayer?
Let us pray. Most gracious Heavenly Lord, we come to you today just to thank you for all the gifts you've given us, Lord. And Lord, we just thank you for keeping us all safe and healthy as we came here to join together and make the decisions for this county. Lord, we ask for your wisdom in making the right decisions for this county, Lord, for all the citizens. And Lord, we ask that you bless those in the leadership, in the cities, the counties, state, and national government, Lord. Help them make all the right decisions for the people. Lord, we just ask that you bless those that are sick and needy, and Lord, just keep us all safe as we depart from here afterwards. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. We're gonna forego the pledge since we already did that. Need a motion to approve the minutes from June 2nd. Commissioner Puckett, Commissioner Roberts. All in favor say aye. All right. First, under the budget hearings is Mr. Harry Johnson.
Hey.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
If I count right, this is my 23rd time to be in front of the Budget Committee. 20 years as the circuit court clerk, and this will be my 3rd time as a veteran service officer, part-time veteran service officer. My budget's going to remain the same as what was approved last year. I'm not asking for any increases. Total budget's $28,000. And if anybody has any questions, I'll be more than likely to.
Move, we approve it.
Second.
Commissioner Puckett, Mr. Gray got the second. All in favor say aye. Mr. Harry.
Thank you, sir. I would like to give you just a little bit of FYI for you. We have this van that you guys bought, maybe 2018. Try to keep up with the number of trips. 2024, we made 28 trips of hauling a veteran to either Marion, Illinois, Paducah, Mayfield, Memphis, or Dyersburg. In my office, I write down every time somebody comes in. I had 500 people come through my office this past year. I don't mean I did 500 claims for them. You know, they might come on Tuesday and the next week they might come Wednesday. But each time they come, I count that as a visit. And I did a total of 290 claims that went through. Some of them were active, some of them were denied, some of them were intent to file, some of them were ready to write, and some of them were appeals, supplemental claims. But anyway, I'm just giving you a little of what goes on in there. So anyway, I thanks for the approval of my budget. Have a good day.
You're more than welcome.
Thank you so much for everything you do.
Yes.
Thank you.
Be careful.
Yes, sir.
Next item is the solid waste sanitation. Travis.
Morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Morning.
If it's okay with y'all, we'll start with the litter. As Sam said earlier, it's gonna be basically the same. It may go up or down $500 or less. They do it by population every year, so you might have any questions on that?
Motion to approve the litter grant.
Second. Motion from Gray, second by Mr. Elliott. All in favor of the litter grant? Say aye.
Solid waste, it's basically the same budget. There is a little bit of an increase due to the fact that we're applying or have been approved for an equipment grant that we received. And of course, we have to come up with the money all at once, and we have decided it's gonna be in the best interest of the budget for this year to do all of that money at one time in one budget year. So that's the reasoning for the little bit of increase on the total budget overall. There's a few items in the budget itself that have a few increases, but there's also some that have some decreases, and if anyone has any questions about those, I'll try to explain that.
Well, the bottom line is the recycling center is self-sustaining.
Correct.
Yeah.
Even with the new additions and the building. the
New
lawn,
addition,
yeah.
building, we're doing okay. We have a pretty, healthy fund balance.
Yeah.
The, materials, are coming in. We're growing. Dissipation has picked up. We, have started doing the plastics and the glass this year. Unfortunately, the glass, we're not making anything on, but it is still a service for the community and it's keeping the material out of the landfill, so.
Yeah.
The plastics are increasing a little along, so hopefully that's gonna continue to improve and, everything seems to be going pretty good.
Motion.
I get a motion from Commissioner Gray.
Second.
Commissioner Elliott, I think is right there. All in favor, say aye.
All right, thank you.
Sheriff, Mr. Jackson. We're gonna do the sheriff first. Yeah, let's do that one first, under public safety.
Okay, I'm gonna be up about 29,000 this year, but I wanna explain something on that. Last year I gave up 2 vehicles, we usually have 5 vehicles a year. I added 1 more back in, which is only giving me 4. Y'all have agreed to let me sell 7, surplus vehicles that we have, and I'm gonna try to sell them to pay for the 5th vehicle. Add 1 vehicle in, I'm still only up 29,000, and the vehicles cost me about 58,000.
So, school resource officer, it looks like you're requesting less on that. What's,
With us losing 1 school, we had
okay.
9, okay? I'm still keeping 8.
Yeah.
And I'll be real frank, I'm keeping 8 because I wanna put 2 resource officers in
Yeah.
Hillcrest this year because the population is gonna be considerably higher.
okay. And you'll still use the same model where you've got the supervisor
I
and he can deal with truants or
Yeah,
court.
now, basically, he'll still be assigned to a school this year
Yeah.
instead of just having a supervisor free to roam.
Okay,
He'll still be assigned to a school, but there'll be 2 in his school and he'll be
Yeah.
able to leave
to go to court or
Yeah.
do whatever
and take somebody else's place, whatever. We're
Yeah.
just kinda,
for vacation, yeah.
we're, trying to make the numbers a little bit better.
Yeah, no, I was just trying to make sure I understood.
Yes, sir.
So this budget is, just for those out in the audience, is approximately $3.7 million, and you're up about 30,000. So,
Yes, sir. I'll go ahead and, tell you, last year, we had a little over 7 million in, budget between all 3 budgets, okay? I had a little over 1,086 in grants, which brought me back down to, a little over 5 million for my total budgets last year. And, right now, I'm roughly at 84% on my budgets this year. I'm probably gonna be about 91 on a couple, maybe a little bit more on the other. If I run along in them ranges right there, and then you add our revenue back in, I'm operating all 3, the court, the sheriff, and the jail, for a little over 2 million, 2,000,006.
It's good financial management.
Good, yeah.
Do we wanna do a motion for all of them, or do we wanna do them individually?
well, we kinda did the motion for the first one, so I guess we just stay on
Oh,
that
did we?
path. Yeah, too. I heard a motion, did I hear a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Okay,
Okay.
second.
Okay. Now we'll vote on that
Yeah,
one.
all right.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So it's carried.
This is the jail.
Jail overall budget is, last year at 2.8, this year at 2.6, down about 200K.
That's correct. That's because of grants.
So
Yes, sir.
you, I think you renegotiated your federal inmate contract.
I did.
Can you tell us the changes?
Yes, we, went from $69 a day to $85 a day. We went from $30 an hour for man hour up to $42 an hour. It's gonna, this year, we're projected out at 1.6 million. I went ahead and took the new rate on this whole past year, put it on. If we had that rate this whole past year, we'd be at 1.96 million.
Uh-huh.
As far as that revenue you get, where does it reflect it here? Is it,
It's not reflected in the actual budget. It just, you know, everything runs through Tracy's office.
okay,
And that's where Harley gets her numbers. I get my numbers, and I'll be frank, I mean, we're really, really fortunate to have Shannon and Harley. I mean, they do such a super job, and sometimes they have ideas, and it's amazing some of the ideas they come up with, so we're really fortunate to have them.
Actually, Wayne County's fortunate.
Yeah.
We're able to run a sheriff's department and a jail.
Yeah, and not run a
No.
deficit. Yeah,
Yeah, other counties across the state, they're having to pull out of the general fund or property taxes or,
Well, I'll put it to you this way, the revenue that we brought in this year would amount to 29.4 cents on your, per $100 on your property taxes.
yeah,
So, I mean, it's, if you took that and divided it by the 90,500, which is a penny, you'll come out with 29.44 cents.
but I mean, you know, Bassfinder did a really good job as well.
Sheriff Bassfinder left me in a very, very good situation, and I've just tried to build on it. We were very fortunate to have Sheriff Bassfinder for 16 years.
Yeah.
He was an awesome sheriff.
I think people don't realize the amount of work that you all go through to be able to house the federal inmates. Well, there's only a couple jails in all West Tennessee that can even do that.
Well, we have a very, very good relationship with the Jackson office.
Mhm.
And, I mean, Jeff McBride's one of the guys that does a lot of the transports, and, I mean, we got a great relationship with them. Matter of fact, they actually helped in my negotiations some, because we weren't where I really wanted to be. They were wanting to start out at about 80. We wound up with 85. I was hoping to get 89, but we did not get 89. But if I hadn't, I'll be frank, if I hadn't went ahead
Yeah.
and taken what we had, it'd been August before we got a new
Yeah.
contract, and it still would have been 85.
Are the contracts annual or are they
Every
5
3
years,
years.
3 year? Okay.
Yeah, this is my third negotiation.
So I have one more question and then I'll shut up.
No, that's all right.
So, I apologize, I don't recall. At one point in time, we had, either it was state or federal inmates, we were having to pay medical on it, or we weren't being reimbursed. So have we worked that
Okay.
out?
What it boils down to on the state, we have to have a contract.
Okay,
All right, and I let it go for a little bit without the contract,
Mhm.
and that was my fault.
Yeah.
But we did come back and sign a contract, I think 6 months, sound about right, Harley? I think it's 6
Yeah.
months
okay,
afterwards, and, they cover, if they're a state inmate, they cover after the first $1,000 for the whole year on
Okay.
that.
so it's like a
Anytime there's
deductible.
Anytime there's an emergency though, they actually cover it.
Okay.
That's something else, the state, we'll probably make, we got it estimated at it's $45,915 more this year, because by being accredited in the jail, instead of $3 a day, we're gonna get $6 a day extra this year. So it'll be, that's another, between the two, it's gonna raise our, revenues from the jail alone, a little over 350,000
Yeah. It's amazing.
between the feds and the state.
Yeah, I think,
And, in our medical, we have a contract, and it was up for renewal, and I talked to them, and they decided they would keep it without making a raise in it, so we stayed with that company.
yeah, I think, it's amazing because, while you're financially managing that, you're also providing, the welding, and all the different things for our inmates, the work release program where it's paying off their fines, and child support. So you're trying to rehabilitate on top and provide, them as being good citizens. So I commend that.
Well, thank you, but I mean, it takes a good team. I
Yeah,
mean,
oh, yeah, yeah,
It takes really good employees
absolutely.
and.
Everybody out there, you know.
I'll be frank, y'all, getting us competitive in pay has helped us out tremendously. And that's one of the things I don't wanna lose is that competitive advantage. So I'll go ahead and say it. I mean, we don't need to go without a raise this year because
I agree.
we've worked so hard to get where we're at. Last year, we dropped behind some people because we didn't get much, I mean, I'm not knocking the raise we got.
Oh, yeah.
But if we go again this year and, we don't get a raise, then that drops us even
Yeah.
further. So say if we're 3% behind, I'll use Union City as an example. If we're 3% behind them this year and they get a 5% and we get 0, then we're 8% behind them again. And 8% adds up at our salaries quick.
Yeah.
And it takes away our competitive advantage.
So if you had to make a suggestion, where do you need to be?
I mean, me? You're asking the wrong person, because I'm gonna tell you we need 5%. And I know y'all don't like the percentage rate, but if they're getting 5%, we need 5% to stay competitive.
What would 5% be,
Yeah.
as an average of a dollar raise?
I did not add that up.
Haven't figured it out.
No, I have not.
Yeah, yeah, I don't like percents, because I think the people at the bottom don't get taken care of.
I get what you're saying, but even at the top, we have to stay
Yeah,
competitive.
Yeah, oh,
because,
yeah, I don't disagree.
You know, I've got a new jail administrator that's coming in the 17th, and I called CTAS to find out what a competitive salary for that position is. And, we're in the jail budget right now, right?
Yes, yes.
And I put in a little more money just to make that, what CTAS recommended.
That's fine. I'll shut up.
Any other questions under this one? Motion to approve the jail budget.
Motion, or second.
Got that Holman motion, Gray second. All in favor of the jail budget, say aye. Public safety, drug enforcement. Yeah.
Sir,
Go ahead to the next one.
there's no increase.
Let's do this. Actually, we can do the next two together. Yeah, let's do courtroom security and, drug enforcement, unless you have
Hang on a
questions.
second. Wait, I may have missed something. Was you not just talking about the, court security where I said there's no increase?
Yeah.
I thought we were on
Okay, yeah.
drug. I thought we were on drug.
Yeah,
I thought we were on drug.
And,
Yeah,
and the drug fund, I mean, we just have to budget what they got, what's in the drug fund right now.
That's restricted funds, right? It can only be used on.
Correct.
Okay, thought so.
any questions? Motion to approve.
Motion.
Commissioner Mayo,
I'll make a second.
Commissioner Gray, all in favor, say aye.
Oh, I've been hogging all the seconds here for motions. Somebody else make a motion.
So we done?
Thank you.
Thank you, Carl, for what you do. Appreciate you.
Appreciate it. Like I said, there's a lot of things I couldn't do without Harley and Shannon. I mean, they shoot some good ideas up, so I appreciate their effort as well. All right.
Yep, I agree.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
I'd like to say something. When I was down there in Jackson in the hospital, sheriff called me and gave me some good information, you know. I mean, he didn't have to do that, but, you know, he did. And I just want to know I appreciate that and everything you're doing.
Well, thank you. Appreciate you. I appreciate.
Although you was talking to my wife and you talked to her for about 2 hours, you didn't even mention me. No.
She's probably a little more pleasant to talk to. But I appreciate all of you. I think we have a good county commission. I can't complain about any of you. You're always willing to work with us, and I appreciate it. Thank you too. I know y'all are part of the county commission, but I appreciate the budget committee as well.
All right. Danny Jowers.
Motion to deny.
Finish calculations here. Good morning, members of the Budget Committee. This is my last budget I'll ever present to you, so I'm sure you're happy about that.
You can stick around another 5 years.
No, it's done. budget, give you some highlights. I will turn back in $17,223. That's about 10.5% of my budget that I did not spend. I don't spend any penny I'm appropriated. I try to watch my budget very carefully and don't waste money. Out of my $166,390 I'm requesting, a large chunk of that now has been sent over to EMA in the rentals of the communication towers. That used to be in the sheriff's budget. It was transferred over to mine because the EMA is the lead on the tagging system, and it was sent over to mine. So it does look bigger than it actually is. But that covers any communication towers in this county that takes care of the sheriff, some of the schools, and so it's in my budget. If you take back that out, you're looking at about $95,000. Of the $95,000, EMPG, which is the Emergency Manager's Performance Grant, covers $35,750 roughly. So that's about 38% of my budget is paid by the federal government. Now ask me how much is paid by the state.
Nothing.
Does anybody like to guess what the state puts in? Zero.
Exactly.
Okay? I'm not anti-state. It's just time for them to start doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Yep.
And that includes the governor.
Agreed.
The one thing that I'm proud that we got done during my tenure over the last year is we got 2 additional tornado warning sirens up to places that need them.
Yes.
That included flood warning systems in Reeves and Sandburg. And then the other thing we got to put up using federal funds and no state funds again was a weather station, recording station in Sandburg. If you haven't seen it, gone online yet, seen it, you've got to go to Radar Omega. Mayor did that yesterday. And $8.99 for the tenure of the time you have it. And you get to see our weather station out there with the camera to the horizon to the west. No longer will those things sneak up on us like they have in the past. Because all those cameras are connected with other cameras all across this nation. So I'm proud of that. Really didn't cost the county anything.
Danny, how long have you served as the EMA director?
I started on the ice storm in 2009, February 2009. So this will be over 16 years.
You've been through several natural disasters and tornadoes and floods.
7th, if we get declared on this one, I'll address that in a minute. This would have been my 7th declaration. I think I'm close to leading the state on that.
I would say that through your tenure, we're better prepared for natural disasters.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. I've got a logistics center sitting over there that is the envy of a lot of counties around here now, that is chock full of equipment if we need to mobilize and go somewhere. I'm gonna say that I'm leaving this in a lot better shape than I found it. And we were getting a lot of money at one time from the federal government. Now, let me explain to you what I think is gonna happen. That's why all of you need to contact your representatives, not state, the federal. EMPG is on their target right now. Now that goes to every community to help be prepared. Emergency management. Again, state don't put anything in it. So the federal government, now, that don't need to be cut out. That does not need to be cut out. I don't know how they're gonna do disasters in the future. We're still waiting on our declaration that we had in April. Sometimes I think we might get it. Sometimes I think we're not gonna get it. I don't know. I've never been so discouraged or not knowing what was going on in my life since I've been on this, in this position. Usually I can, like that. It's my understanding it's on the president's desk, and he is personally reviewing every one of them. So, are we gonna get it? If we get it, that's gonna be good, because it's probably gonna bring our highway department back about $750,000, $800,000. Any of the expenses that we were out, for the sheriff's department, my department, any department across, it will help offset those costs, so to 75%. The state puts in 12.5%, the locals will put in 12.5%. My last day, I think, no, I know, will be sometime in July, but I will only be in an advisory capacity at that point, training. I'm not asking for any new money to pay me for those 2 weeks. We'll do it out of the annual, we'll figure it out somewhere, but I'm not asking for any new money on that. The new director will take over July the 1st, so that means somebody's gotta stay somewhere close for the month of June. So I really wanted my last day to be May 31st, but I'll be around through most of June to answer any problems that we might have. Now, getting back to my budget, I'm asking for $1,000 more dollars than I got last year, and that is because the uniform line item, obviously, a new man's coming in, he's gonna have to have uniforms. And we do supply uniforms. We want to look uniform. Nothing aggravates me anymore seeing somebody running around in blue jeans doing this job. You may have to, but we are a professional organization and we wanna look professional. The other is an increase in my utilities, because we did put heat out there on my building, because we were figuring out the stuff was not reacting very well for it to be zero inside that building. So we did put some heat, so I've asked for a small, modest increase in that. I have cut some other line items back to make sure I did as close to this budget as I could. Remember, I'm turning you back in $17,000. That's that part of it. The DHS is Department of Homeland Security, gives our districts, we're District 9 in our state, they do give us money. Again, I don't know what's gonna happen coming out of the big bill they got up there. But they have at least appropriated, for the next fiscal year, right at 14,000. We already had another grant, so it's about 26,000 of grants that I can spend, in this county, for Department of Homeland Security matters.
So that's a reduction, almost half.
Yes, yeah. So, anyway,
And what's that gonna go towards?
anything that we feel that the communication line, items, if we need a repeater, anything, there's a Department of Homeland Security AEL authorized equipment list. You go through that thing and anything's on that list that we think we need, we can buy it.
Is it only for capital, or can you use it for like, rental, tower rental?
You cannot.
Okay, so it's capital only?
Can't the Department of Homeland Security says we can use it for drones. Drones are the up and coming thing to survey and to search and to do everything.
Yeah.
But guess who won't let us buy drones? The state of Tennessee. Because they had some legislatures up there afraid we were gonna fly them over their swimming pools or something, what we were told. Whatever. You know, that again, the federal government
How's
says
that
we
law
can.
read? Like, how can I buy a drone, but you can't?
It's just we can't
We
use,
can't use
state
State
funds.
fund, yeah.
Can't use the state, well, actually, they're not state funds, they're federal
Right.
funds went to the state to be used by us, but they're saying we can't use
Because
that
we're a
for drones.
subdivision of the state. Yeah.
Anyway.
I know a while back,
We do have
I thought
drones, by the way, I bought them out of our own budget.
we briefly had a discussion, you and I did, about having our own tower rather than renting a
Yes.
tower. What's the,
Let-
have you done any more?
I
study
have,
on that?
let me explain that to you. Communications is the key to everything. I don't care if it's us as commissioners and talking to the other, it's communications. If we lose a communication tower because we're not in control of that tower, we lose all of our communications. That includes for the sheriff. Right now, we're on a rented tower, at the landfill. I'm paying somewhere around $40,000 a year just for that tower rental, then I got some other tower rental I'm gonna have to pay. And then I have to pay for a link that I shouldn't have had to pay for, so that's where we're at $69,000 is going, okay? So y'all are budgeting me $69,000 a year, right? But we don't own the tower.
Well, I mean, could we not build our own tower?
Well, the proposal that we have land that we could put towers on, and I'm gonna turn around and ask the school something. Do y'all pay any tower rental for anything?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
For school buses, right?
and for school buses, right? And that costs you some money every year,
Yeah.
4,000, okay. And then we got other things that we
Highway
pay.
department.
so other departments have.
Yeah.
So this tower that I have researched and got some quotes on, is a tower that can be built on something with land we already own. We have, land at the firing range and then land at the, nursing home. The nursing home is very much in line with UTM and Hornbeak. And this is how the state system works, there is alignment. So if one goes down, you have two more that can take care of things, okay? So it's a pretty good system, it's pretty, what they call a resilient system, redundancy, resilient. So, to make a long story short, the cost of that tower, turnkey operation, that would be moving all the equipment that the state owns. The state says they will help us on putting up a microwave dish that I don't have now, that we're paying, Gibson Connect a fee. And I didn't even include what the schools could say. So obviously we wouldn't charge the schools for a tower that we have. So you would be looking at, turnkey operation around $750,000. Okay, that's turnkey. That's everything. That's moving the equipment, that's, maybe an additional repeater that the fire department has asked for to help their communications. Now, now the $750,000 is a lot of money. I'm not gonna say that. It is. But remember, we have hospital money
Yeah.
that we borrow against all the time. And we pay ourselves interest. So you figure you put that on a 10-year payout with interest, you'd be looking somewhere around $78,000, maybe $80,000 a year coming out of debt service.
Same amount of money that we're paying to rent one.
And you're, in 10 years, it's yours.
Yeah.
Okay? 10 years, it's yours. Now, I didn't come here to pitch this today, but I'm telling you, I am what's called emergency management preparedness. We gotta be prepared if something happens to our tower. It's not our tower, it's our equipment on that
Now,
tower.
if we own a tower and say something happens to it,
We insure
how
it.
easy is it to transfer that to the rentals that we were on just to keep us going?
If something happens to that tower, then the other two towers take over.
They take over and it just.
You never miss a link. Now,
Never,
you may
okay.
not be able to get it out with a handheld inside you. You're familiar
But
with
that's
it.
just on the tacking system. What he's asking might be more relevant to the fire departments and
And
some of the
schools.
systems that aren't on the tacking system.
Yes. And that's what we're trying to revamp right now, where we get more fire channels on our tacking system. See, our tacking system that we have is only 30-something% used. We got all kinds of space.
It's law enforcement only though, right?
We can set up, no,
Oh, okay.
we can
It's
set
not-
up, I can sign off on individual channels that are called fire channels on the tacking system.
Oh, okay. I thought it was.
They
I thought
just
it was
can't get on
enforcement.
law enforcement channel,
Okay, so,
okay?
okay.
I have capability on that tacking system.
Okay, yeah, I just wasn't aware.
Yeah.
So I have a question. You said the, state would, put a microwave dish up and things. Would the state pay any rental fees or?
No.
Okay.
No,
because we're
but they
part of
would
the tacking-
they would maintain the site,
Oh, they would, so they would
the
like.
internal workings of the site,
Okay,
not the grounds, but we
Yeah.
have grounds crews,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And the tower's insured because we
Yeah.
insure the tower.
So
We
the
pay the rental for it, but if the repeater died today, the state would.
That's
be the one
correct. That was
paying.
the agreement we signed. We invested a little bit more than $2 million in that system using COVID money. And, the agreement that I signed off on, it was that they had to maintain if something happens. Again, remember, if something happens today to that tower, we got two other towers we feed off of, okay? This is why the state system is so good, because if you didn't have the state system to feed off of,
Yeah.
then it goes down, you got nothing.
So the tower, I think it's at the landfill, right?
Yes,
So that tower, you know, what Rob and Ryan were talking about, if something happened to, like, we built a tower and something happened to it, and then fire channels went down, or the school or whoever, all of those repeaters there, so the same thing stands, if something happens to the one at the landfill, the fire department still out channels.
no, they still have,
Yeah,
well, there's
so
no.
there's an outage no matter what, whether it's our tower or whether it's the
The problem
tower.
now, but the
Yeah.
issue right now, the fire channels
Yeah.
don't, they do their own, they have
Yeah.
their own repeaters.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter if the tower and the repeaters, damaged in a storm, tornado, whatever.
They still have.
All right, so do we need to make a motion just to move this to the long-range planning committee? Is that what we need to do?
I would think
We
so.
can sit here and talk about radios all day. I love talking about radios and all that stuff.
Well, I
I'm
want
an
to,
extra-class ham operator, but we need to move.
I'm not
this.
asking this
We
as
need
part of
to
my
move on.
budget. I think it needs to be moved to
Okay.
long range, let them look at it and move it back to how to finance it. But I gave you the options of financing. It's not gonna take any money out of the general fund. It's over in debt service, which we do a lot of things for everybody in this county.
One more thing before we get a motion, is you might wanna consider trying to buy the tower from the person who owns the tower.
That you can't.
You can't?
Oh,
No,
okay.
No.
really?
It would probably be in the multiple millions.
Really?
Because there's other things on that tower,
Oh, okay.
Oh,
not just us.
I didn't know if it was just us.
And the
Okay.
tower sits on land that's not owned by the
county.
owner of the tower.
I get
Does
you.
that make sense?
Okay.
You wouldn't wanna buy somebody's tower that you don't even own the land that sits under it, so, anyway, I guess.
So I make a motion that let me think through that deal. Okay, I make a motion that our long-term planning of our communication systems and what tower infrastructure is for the county be sent to the long-range planning committee to assess.
A motion, Commissioner Elligood, and a second by Commissioner Roberts. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Good.
Okay, I presented the budget. Any question on my budget?
Motion to approve this budget. So moved. Commissioner Bucket, Commissioner Mayo, all in favor, say aye. Very good, thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, Danny.
All right, we're gonna move the school down to the bottom, we're gonna knock these other ones out, and we'll come back to school. Number 9, debt service. You're up.
All right, there's a, first one's debt service, and, anybody has any questions? Between Harley and I, we'll answer them.
This is for next year's one-day note, not what we,
Correct.
That's correct, yeah, we're asking for
motion. We can always amend it if we have more things to add to the one-day note, correct? Yeah.
Get a motion by Commissioner Gray,
Second.
second by Commissioner Holman, all in favor, say aye. Next up is CDBG grant. The Lake Road Lift Station.
Yes, that's, something we've been trying to, find a solution for a long time, so we're able to get that, grant, take care of the lift station,
Question.
okay?
When I talked to Johnny and Moss at Public Works, Johnny at the city, they said if we got that up to code, they would take ownership. Is that still the case?
That was my understanding too.
Okay.
Talked to Johnny McTurner, the city manager.
Alright, so I would like, once that work's done, if we could just deed that to them. You know, they collect depreciation on that. My argument this whole time has been, they're collecting depreciation in their utility system on an asset that is ours, and they should own it, they should maintain it, they should upkeep it. So
I mean, I think that's reasonable.
I'll make the motion on that with the understanding that we deed the lift station to them, and it's their problem henceforth in the future.
Once it's up to code, right?
Yeah, correct.
And
This
also-
money will, basically, what it's gonna do is pay for a new lift station out there.
Yeah.
And this lift station is vital because it, services Lake Road School, and it also, which was the reason it was actually put in, back when the school was built, so in order for us to get there, the sewer, onto the city sewer system. And so then the subdivision was also added on through the years, and of course, the Dollar General store is out there now too, so it's a vital part of that part of the town, city, and the county.
James, are you want to roll that into the same, let's approve the CDBG grant and CDBG grant and?
Yeah, so the CDBG grant is approved and contingent upon, once it's up to code, that we give it to the city. We're no longer in the sewer business. We don't own the utility system. There's no reason we should own a lift station.
But what if they don't take it?
We can still deed it to them. They can deed it back, but we can deed it to them. And at the end of the day, if they don't, no, they don't. And at the end of the day, here's the other thing. If they don't maintain it, they get the violation. They have the license with the state through TDEC for the utility, or for the sewer system. We don't get fined, they get fined. So, once we get up to code, it's theirs.
So we're gonna do this back and forth game, we did it to them, they did it back to us, we did it back
I mean,
to them.
at the end of the day, they'll have to maintain it, because at the end of the day, if they don't, they're gonna get fined every day that it's not in compliance. I mean, they have no leg to stand on here. I mean, I represent the city as District 4. I don't think it's unfair in what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, we don't have any other
I
lift
mean, I
stations.
agree with you,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to make sure that
Yeah.
it'll, you know,
Yeah.
that it'll work.
Are we maintaining that one as well?
I think we still.
We do, according to Philip Graham.
We don't do anything with it.
According to Philip Graham, when he was here, he said that they would go out and they would clean it and do like annual,
Well, we should
Yeah.
check.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
think as far as we're not certified, it tears up.
Oh, yeah, we have to contract it out, hire somebody or
See, that's
whatever.
the issue,
Yeah.
we're not licensed to even operate a
Exactly.
lift station.
Yeah.
They're, the school system's not, we're not.
Correct.
The city is.
Yeah.
Okay, so the intent is that we work with the city,
Yeah.
hey, we're spending lots of money, we're doing this.
Yeah, and
getting it
they-
Code,
and
you're
I-
making depreciation off of it, you're.
Yeah. Yeah, because they're collecting depreciation, the whole point of the depreciation is for the maintenance and repair in the future. And then the other, and I talked to them, was it about half a year ago, 6 months? And they told me out of their mouth, if you get it up to code, we'll take it.
Okay, well, if that's what they said.
That's
Yeah,
what they
that was-
said.
that
That's
was
just what I was
the
wanting to make sure that we were
And
working.
that was the same
with
response I got
Okay.
as well, so.
All right.
So we got a motion and a second, I need a second, Commissioner Mayo. All in favor of that motion and this grant, say aye.
Aye.
Good. County buildings, number 11.
Included in this, of course, will also, so you'll notice there, line 712 is, Oldham County Fairgrounds, the new, air units are gonna be put out there, and our part of that, and then also line 799 for the library improvements with the doors, and also the jail roof, and some hot water heaters.
Those taking out debt service?
Okay,
So,
yeah,
yeah, it's all that's that.
Yeah, making sure.
And the library doors for 2/3, 1/3 with city.
correct.
That's correct.
What about the air units? Are they split or is that just our responsibility? They split with the
They're split.
Unicity?
Which building are those areas? It's on the, is it the,
I think it's the exhibits.
that's what I was thinking, okay.
I think it is too.
Because we did the other building a couple years ago.
I think that's right.
Okay. Motion.
Commissioner Gray,
Second.
Commissioner Holman, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Other charges? Item 12.
Okay, you'll notice on line 454 in the water and sewer, of course, that's kind of what we call the pass-through funds, go through their TDEC money, and that was for the water districts. Now, just to remind you, the county is not allowed to have a water district, so we don't have or operate water districts, but we have those in the county that operate. So we help get that money to them, that's the way it's set up. So we have Everett Water Association, Hornby Utility District, and Reelfoot Water Association, and the Reelfoot Lake Regional Utility District.
I have more of a comment on this one. Something was said at a commission meeting, a month or two ago, that we had decreased in fund balance, went into our fund balance, for whatever reason, you know, that we hadn't managed well. That was not an adequate, statement, because this is why our fund balance decreased.
Right.
Because we had got this money from the American Rescue Plan and TDEC. We formed a committee that me and Ryan were on. This is all pass-through funds. So that had sat in our bank account for 2 or 3 years, and now we're just now paying it out. So it was not we went $2 million into our fund balance last year. It was, we were holding money that was owed to somebody else. We were just the middleman.
That's correct.
Thanks for that explanation.
Motion.
Commissioner Gray. Second,
Second.
Commissioner Holman. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
employee benefits, item 13.
Yeah, you'll see the little increase there, and that's, of course, obviously something we don't have any control over, but, insurance does what insurance does, so I don't know if we know an exact amount it's going up, but
That's what I was gonna ask, did we have this year's figures yet?
not yet.
They're getting later and later every year.
Motion.
Commissioner Holman, got the motion, need a second. Commissioner Roberts, all in favor of that, say aye. Item 14 is preservation of records. Went up 40,000.
Yeah, we increased that 40,000, Harley, you remember what we
Just, if
determined
we
that
don't know what we're
because of
gonna have to do repairs in the
Yeah.
new buildings.
Oh, yeah.
This is all money collected through the county clerk and now the courts. So
These-
it's free money basically.
Yeah, all
And
this
these are
money is-
restricted funds, we can only use it for records
Right,
anyway.
It's for records and record preservation, and it's all money that comes through fees, so it's not actually costing, you know.
How much is in that fund
taxpayer
balance?
money, so.
I'm not
Two.
sure. I don't know. I don't know off the top of my head.
It's a decent chunk,
Yeah.
cause we can only use it for records,
Yeah.
like buying filing cabinets or, you know, anything record associated.
All right, motion to approve this one.
Motion.
Commissioner Billygood, Commissioner Roberts, all in favor, say aye.
Uh,
I think that takes care of these for me. I do want to just take this opportunity to say that, I appreciate so much our finance director, Harley, and also our purchasing director, Shanna, and, the work that they do is so important, and, they are very efficient in what they do, and, they are tremendous help to me as we try to make sure that we take care of all the funds that come through here, and that they're spent like they're supposed to be, and that the planning and organizing of the budget is like it's supposed to be, and so I just want to commend them for their great work, and they come in early when we need to come in early, they stay late, we need to stay late, they do whatever it takes that we get everything ready in a timely manner, and I appreciate their efforts and their faithfulness and commitment, and, also, I wanted to just take this opportunity, not that this will be the last time I'll say this, but I do want to say a word about EMA Director Danny Jowers. We have, I just appreciate his work, and, he and I have worked together so well. In fact, we've never had a cross word, and, I appreciate the work that he's done in helping to get our emergency management situation in a better condition, and, great progress and strides have been made, since he's been here to do that, and so we're very appreciative of that. And, I've told him to stay as long as he wanted to, but he's ready, so we're moving forward with that, but, I just wanted to mention that as well, and I appreciate, of course, all of you, what you do as we work together, but, that's all I got for right now.
Thank you. All right.
Good job.
On May the 12th, there was a motion by Rob Holman, seconded by James Gray, to fund the school's capital projects for a total of $327,000 from debt service. Revenue will be funded as the same as $9,266,997. This financial support will be adjusted due to ADM figures we will receive at the end of May. We've had the chance to review the school's budget. We have new numbers from the state. The maintenance effort will be reduced by $84,527 to $9,182,470 is the new amount that was provided to the school board and to the director. So I'll repeat that, it's been reduced, maintenance effort by $84,527. With that said, James, you have a comment?
Yeah, so, I've got a couple questions recently about, the bonus. I think the school board had, ended up, voting on the resolution where the state was gonna give the $2,000 bonus. Is that as a, pass-through? It's no cost to us. I just wanted to make sure that our teachers in, that were employed this year, because it's 4/24/25, were going to receive that even if they had not been renewed.
That is correct.
That's all I had.
Motion to approve his budget.
Second. Got a good motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Mayor, did you have any more comments? Anything additional? Good,
Yeah, not part of that motion, but yeah.
okay. Okay, we, motion second, all approve, say aye.
Aye.
Double approval.
Thank you.
That's yours. Mayor, you're free to talk.
Well, good morning again. Some of the commissioners that had asked me to, address a few things and clarify a few things about our budgeting process, and I wanted to do that at this time. And I just, first of all, just want to say that, I appreciate your work so much and all the hours that you put into this budget process, because trying to prepare the budget, is a major task. And, every year, it gets a little more challenging because we think about the economic situations that we face. And, you know, we all care about our citizens, we care about our taxpayers, we care about trying to make the best use of their funds that they provide. And I think sometimes we have to be careful that we don't forget that the money that we have to operate on comes from all of our people in the county. It's not our money, it's their money. And, we take that tax money, and hopefully we're always going to use it wisely and try to make decisions that are in the best interest of our people. And so I want to thank all of you on this budget committee, members of the finance committee, and of course, members of the county commission at large for the work that we do as we try to come together and put this together. And also for our various department heads as they work to provide the information that we need and to be as efficient as they are. You know, I'm aware of some counties and how that sometimes the idea is to spend every penny that's in a budget line item by the June the 30th of every year. And, you know, we don't do that here. Our departments don't do that. We don't try to do that. I'm very appreciative of that fact that our department is trying to be very careful about expenditures and try to work well as far as budgeting and try to keep in mind our taxpayers. And we do what we need to do, provide excellent service, but we don't try to be excessive in spending. And so I'm very appreciative of our folks for doing that and being so cooperative about that. Some of the things I just want to talk about today, and of course, as it relates to budget, and of course, a big part of our budgeting process and attention in the last several weeks has been about the school budget. And I continue to get some questions about that. And I just want to say, before I say anything else, I'm fortunate as I stand before you to be able to say that I was born and raised in Obion County. I was educated in Obion County schools. And when I started school, we didn't have a kindergarten. We just had first grade. So I started first grade at Dixie School, graduated from Obion Central, and later went to Union University and home to get my bachelor's and master's degree. And I am so thankful to be able to say that I'm a product of Obion County schools. And, you know, as I think back over going to school here and the relationships that were established during that time, you know, even as a student in school, some of the best friends I ever had were school teachers. I mean, to this day, even as old as I am, some of my school teachers are still alive. And I'm still friends with them and talk to them and very appreciative of them. But I always had a good relationship with my school teachers and the principals, and I have a great appreciation of them. I don't know of any profession that is more honorable than being an educator. When you think about the opportunity that God gives a person to be able to help shape and mold lives and to have such an influence on them at an early, impressionable age, I don't know of any profession that's more honorable and more important than a school teacher. And so I'm thankful for our teachers and for our administrators and everybody that's involved with the school system. And I say that from my heart today, because I think about the challenges we've had in trying to put together, you know, the overall county budget and to fit in the numbers that have been given to us by the departments, and of course the issue with the school and questions about the funding. And because of some questions, again, and different things that have been said and rumors that have been said, I want to address some of that today, just clarify some things and try to explain some things that are maybe hard to understand. And
one of the terms that, we have to use when we do budgets is a term called maintenance of effort. Now, if you ask most people on the street what a maintenance effort is, they're not gonna know what you're talking about. And if you don't really have to know, there's no reason probably for you to know what we're talking about. But maintenance effort, that's terminology that's used to basically say and represent the money that is required by the local funding body that we provide to the school system in order then for us to be able to qualify for funding from the state. So, and that's what it's called a maintenance effort. And so there's a certain amount that the state requires in the funding formula that we use. And so we provide that, and then that triggers the funding from them. Now, where it kind of gets a little muddy as far as understanding is the difference in what's required of the state, and then as it's added together to make the full maintenance effort when we put in the local funds. And so there's where some of the confusion has come, I think, as far as in some of the discussion and some of the things that have been said. And again, I just want to say that truth is valuable. And so, you know, numbers don't lie, and so we just need to take the facts for what they are and look at the facts and the numbers, and then we have a better opportunity to know how we feel about something and what the case really is. And so, you know, if we, for example, if we were to begin a school system today, and based on the formula that the state says we have to, you know, supply and provide, the required state match, just taking Oglala County's current figures, our required state match is $5,660,192. That's 24-25 school year. But we are actually providing, because of the local maintenance effort, and I will talk about that a little more in a minute, is $9,266,997,000. Now, how does that happen?
Minus
Well,
85 now.
I'm sorry?
Minus
Yeah,
85.
Yeah, minus 85,000, that's right, thank you. And so how that happens is, like, however many years ago, and we could go back many years, I've only gone back about 6 years as far as trying to do some figures, just to do some comparisons, but, you know, there was a time when we had more students in the school system than we have. There was a need for more funding then because of more students. We had, industry maybe we don't have now. There were all kinds of different scenarios that fit into this. And so when you had, say, 3,128 students in 2019, 2020, back then, the required state match was $6,247,000. And the local maintenance of effort, the part that we put in, total with that would be $8,735,351. So instead of putting in the 6.2, we put in 8.7. Now, once that's there, that becomes the maintenance effort. That means that's the floor. That means next year, we can't provide less than that, okay? Because that's the floor. The only way that we can provide less than that is if the school system loses students, and if they see a reduction in ADM, then the funding body has the option of reducing funding based on and according to the ADM reduction. The county can do that. The county don't have to do that. And in this case, for as far back as I can remember, even beyond the 6 years, this county has never reduced the funding for the school system based on the loss of students until this past year's budget and this current year when we looked at it closer. So anytime that the school system lost students, even though the state reduced funding, because they did, this county has not reduced funding. I can show you there, like in 2019-20, the state 6.247, 2021 6.135, and then the next year the student ADM went up a little bit, so the state went back up some, and then, you know, and when it did go up, they went up, and then when it went down, they went down. But the one that didn't go down consistently was Oglala County's funding. Oglala County commissioners have always funded the school system and continued to fund the school system at the same amount as the year before, even when they lost students and didn't have to do that. And I think that's important to know. that they have had that commitment, have had that commitment, and our forefathers before us have had that kind of commitment. So in doing so, you know, if the state says your system's not justified but with this amount of money, but you provide this amount of money, that means basically you're giving them some extra money. That's what you're doing. That's in essence what you're doing, because you didn't have to do that. So that has taken place consistently for those years. And in addition to that, there has been the sales tax issue that, you know, has been asked about. And of course, there's a portion of the sales tax revenue that's budgeted with the schools. But then there's additional sales tax that comes in that the schools also get. And that's non-budgeted. That's a bonus, in other words. That's extra money. And in the past 5 years, that has amounted to $2,007,125.91. So again, it's just good to know these facts. And as far as business tax is concerned, there's a certain amount that's budgeted for that. And beyond what was budgeted in extra business tax money over the last 5 years has also been $96,623.51. So that is also a part of the overall equation as far as funding and any extra money that, you know, has been headed toward the school system so they could use. So I think it's important to note that. And also, in addition to that, is the fact that 21-22, we spent $91,998 on paving the Ridgemont parking lot. 23-24 year, we spent $250,000 plus the legal cost to buy the property adjacent to Old County Central High School, and we gave it to the school system. 24-25, we spent $68,639 for paving the Lake Road parking lot. 24-25, the Board of Education roof was $203,518 that this body paid for. 24-25, also, we paid for 2 resource officers to an amount of $148,630. And in this next coming current budget year, we're also committing to pay for capital projects of $327,000. So just in these amounts alone, that's an additional $1,091,177. So I just want to make it just clear, some of you asked me to do, that in addition to the minimum that could be given, there has been much more given to the school system. And if anytime we can do that, that's wonderful that we can do that, because we do love our school system and we do have appreciation for teachers and the work that they do. And we want to take care of our students. But that's just some of the facts, and that's not a perception, that's not an opinion, that's facts, that's just the numbers. The numbers don't lie, and that's what they are. So I wanted to present that, and if you've got any questions, I could try to answer if you have. I think I've pretty much covered what we need to do on that. But
Mayor, can you explain to just the general public the percentage of county, what they get each time we do maintenance effort, and what the city gets? Explain that, just so
Okay.
everybody knows that too.
Yeah, we get, for example, out of the general fund, property tax revenue, 32.76%. General fund gets it, and the highway department gets 3.16%. The schools get 44.54%. So out of our property tax dollars, the schools get 44.54. 28.92% goes to county schools, 15.57% goes to the city schools. And that's where that breaks down.
So it's almost 2/3, 1/3.
That breakdown by average daily attendance in both the school systems for
Yes.
the whole school year.
It's supposed to be. And also right now, we're getting, for every penny, that we collect in tax revenue, we get $90,524. That will be subject to change. We were expecting that our assessors, Ms. Judy is expecting to get, word back from Nashville pretty soon on that within days of what our new amount will be, expected to go up, so that'll be more revenue that'll come in through, the penny.
I just kinda wanna make a statement. I think you said that the state has decreased funding. I don't think the state has decreased funding that much. In fact, they're getting more this coming year budgeted than they did last year.
Well,
And in fact, I think since probably 2019 or so, they're around the $19 million mark
Yeah.
and now they're at 22 million.
Yeah,
So the state is actually pitching in more than what they used to.
Yeah,
We're pitching in more.
in the new formula, they are giving
yeah.
more, that's true.
Well,
I guess what I should have said, they required less of us, but we've continued, that's what.
And you look at the county maintenance of effort, you went back to 2019, $8.7 million in 1920, $8.9 million in 21-22, $9.6 million in 22-23. And the only way it can increase is if we increase maintenance of effort, and because you have to give the same amount the next year that you did the year prior. The only way we can reduce it is by the loss of students.
Right.
So,
Not to get in the weeds, but I do think while they have increased, the new formula, TISA versus BEP, has not kept up with inflation. Because BEP, if you look at the models, they would have increased even more, but that's here nor there.
And I would also address this, because I heard somebody say, well, we would hate to think that we had to, make ourselves be able to operate on the same money we got now that we did 10 years ago, Well, no, we're not asking anybody to do that. 10 years ago, the school budget was like 13, 14, 27 million, 86,908, compared to this year, 34 million, 277,876. So that's about a 26% increase in that 10-year period. So nobody's asking anybody to operate on the same money, so.
With actually more students at that time.
And there was a lot more students. In
Yes.
fact, in 10 years, we're down to 762 students.
we've had since 2011, you said minus 864. It went from 3716, 3731, that was up. 3731, 3737, that was up. 3737, 3509, there was a cut that could have been made there. 3509, 3411, there's a cut that could have been made there. 3411, 3299, there's a cut. 3299, 3202, there's a cut. I mean, it keeps going. Keeps going. And they never got cut until last year.
That's correct.
And the fund balance is higher than it's ever been.
Yeah. What's the fund balance now, 6 million?
6 million, last year is 4.9, year before is 5.2, year before that 5 million, year before that 4.4, year before that 3.6. Right here.
All right, that's what I want to share with you. And y'all, on the budget committee, have anything else you want to add?
I'd like to second what the mayor said about Harley and Shanna. They do tremendous work, and something he didn't say is they take phone calls on vacation and days off and listen to, our questions on the budget committee, when they're not getting paid. So I try not to do that, but there have been times when I have, and I appreciate them very much.
What do we have, let's see, we've got another budget committee meeting on July the 7th.
This is everything except for one fund that it got overlooked. It's the TIF fund. It's just a pass-through. It's not anything major, but he's gonna have to come and set it up in my computer before I can do anything. We totally overlooked it.
So this is basically.
So the
Do
other
we
open
need
item
to
was the rescue
raise-
squad.
Oh,
If they don't come back, I guess we're not funding them.
have
That's what
they,
we said, unless y'all,
has anybody spoke to Freddie or anybody? Do we know?
I've spoken to them 2 or 3 times.
I think Shane was gonna go to their meeting. I don't know what happened. The holdup was just, they wanted somebody punished, or I don't know. I don't even remember. I don't understand what the holdup for funding them was. So I guess, can we have them whenever we hear the TIF? Can we ask that, physically ask that they be here?
If they don't take the initiative to try to come themselves, it's on them.
y'all are the ones requested that they go back and do some kind of action,
Right.
otherwise we weren't gonna fund them. So,
And they haven't come.
No action's been made, I don't think, correct?
So my question, another thing, raises, we need to discuss county employee raises.
that'll be done in July, I guess.
Yeah, we'll do that if we get all this,
Okay, I just didn't know.
we get told together.
Yeah, that's why I didn't know if we wanted to kind of be thinking on it or have ideas where we wanted to go. I'm not a fan, I know the sheriff doesn't want to hear this, I apologize. I'm not a fan of percentage raises. I think it doesn't benefit our lowest paid employees properly, so just put that out there.
Sheriff, did you have something?
Sorry.
You were getting up twice, I didn't know if you were trying to talk or.
I thought that was gonna be done. I will say one thing, I mean, we're fixing to take some opioid funds, and, this next year, we're gonna be training some of our deputies and our correctional officers to be first responders. We're doing the correctional officers so that we have that inside the jail facility along with our medical that we have. And we're gonna do the, some of the deputies so that we have first responders that can respond to cities as well.
You're gonna be fired.
I mean, basically just to try to help the citizens more than anything.
Thank you. Does that include like Narcan and things like that, I guess?
We already carry Narcan.
Okay.
We're already trained with it and carry it, and we received
Yeah,
it.
you're worried.
Last year, we took some of the opioid funds, I don't know if you know it or not, but we actually have a Narcan machine in the lobby at the jail, and there's actually one over here at the courthouse as well. And that's actually some, every bit of that's thanks to Harley and her efforts and thoughts.
Thank you.
All right, so July 7th, any open items, we'll just take care of it at the regular budget meeting. And set raises and stuff, good.
Motion to adjourn.
Got one second, all in favor?
Good job, yeah.
How's it going, Charles?